Okay, I'd like to bring this meeting to order for the, can you hear me? Is this on? Is it on? Okay, I'd like to bring this meeting to order for the Town of Brunswick Planning Board for March 17th, 2022. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, and happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. So we'll try to make this meeting short, so everybody can go out and have their drink on St. Patrick's Day. Okay, our agenda this evening, as it was posted on the town website and the town board, is as follows. Number one, Whitbeck, minor subdivision. Applicant seeks minor subdivision approval to create 4 new lots containing 4.02 acres, 3.20 acres, 6.77 acres, and 31.69 acres on property located at 131 Krieger Lane. Richard Whitbeck and Jacqueline Whitbeck are the applicants. Number 2, Changing Visions of Energy, CBE North America, special use permit and site plan. Applicant seeks approval for construction of a community solar energy farm consisting of solar panels, associated equipment, and a grass surface access road on property located off Delaware Avenue. CBE, North American Incorporated is the applicant. Number 3, Blue Sky Towers 3, special use permit and site plan amendment. Applicant seeks to increase the height of a cell tower on property located on Crick Road by an additional 20 feet. Blue Sky Towers 3 LLC is the applicant. We also have under new old business, some business regarding the Brunswick Acres major subdivision. So with that being said, our first item of business is the review and approval of the minutes for March 3rd. Has everybody had an opportunity to review those? Is there any corrections, additions, amendments to those minutes?
I had one question on the bottom of page 2. Said the entire parcel is part of the planned development district for the paintball facility. Is that the paintball facility?
Correct.
Is on the PDD?
It is. So part of that parcel is the paintball, and the PDD boundary was limited to just the paintball facility.
And then on page 4, line 7, sentence is the planning board, the discussed, and I think that should be then discussed.
Anything else?
No.
Anyone else have any corrections? Yeah, I will make a motion to approve the minutes as they were corrected and amended. I'll say. Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, first on our agenda is the Whitbeck minor subdivision.
Good evening, everybody. Brian Holdritter, land surveyor. My clients are Dick and Jackie Whitbeck. I've been doing work for them now for about 20 years. And this latest proposal is for a minor subdivision, and they're looking to, there's a big open field that they own right here just after you make the bend on Krieger Lane, and we're looking to create 2 building lots there. They would be lot 1, 4.02 acres with about 260 feet of frontage Lot 2 would be 3.2 acres with 201 feet of frontage. And then they're looking to create a third lot down here, which their son is going to build on. And that lot is 6.77 acres and has about 230, 235 feet of frontage on Krieger Lane. And so that leaves them with this real peculiar remainder parcel, which is 31.69 acres.
I have to tell you that I was not at the meeting last meeting, so I
Okay.
really didn't get this material, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to leave it up to the rest of the board to make some
Sure,
comments at
sure.
this point. Go ahead.
We had a few questions. One was about the utility line that runs across to the main house.
This one here, Linda?
There's two of them.
Well, there's this one and then there's this one.
Right.
Yep.
Are those privately owned or do they have easements over there?
Well, they're old Niagara Mohawk easements. They're through the fields. There probably is no recorded deed for their easement, as is the case in most of these lines that ran through the farms back in the day.
There's no issue with that 6 acre lot getting access under that utility line?
No, no. Now, there's a pole right here. And so access, that's the best spot to cross because you're not dealing with any sag. Yeah.
And then I think there was some discussion about the thin, narrow, L-shaped excluded parcel. Or if you could,
Where's that now?
where the Z goes across,
Mhm.
there's like a 20-foot wide easement that goes to the parcel to the back there.
Over here?
Uh,
Yes. On lot 1, there's an existing 40-foot easement, deeded easement for access to this parcel, and that parcel, which all predates any of my work.
And then there's another one that,
There's another one.
yeah, maybe
Another parcel or another easement?
Another easement.
explain
There's
it.
an 8-foot right away. There's 2 posts there and you've got them shown here. And that goes over to that land owned by Douglas Gross.
On the east side of the pink lot,
Oh, right here.
and then,
That's actually owned in fee. That's not an easement. That's fee ownership.
What does that mean?
It means that this person owns this strip of land.
so does that lot in the rear have an easement across?
This lot here is only connected to this by a land hook. And as I say, that's been like that since before I began work for the Whitbecks in '99. I don't know exactly when or how that was created.
How does Gross access his property?
Through that 8-foot right road.
Is that his only access?
That's his only access, yes. Yep. But in all the time
Looks
I've
like the
worked there,
drive
I've
down-
never seen anyone back there. I don't know if he uses it strictly for hunting or
They use it in the fall. They bring a camper in there and
do they?
they go hunting back in.
Yeah. Got it.
The field drive is not in the
It is not.
egress or in the egress area.
It is not. It is not.
Is
And that field drive is about invisible at this point, Wayne. You know, it's kind of been grown over and the hay has been hayed across it and you can't even hardly even see where that is anymore. Since this house was built and they've kind of really manicured this area, that field drive is about non-existent. You can still see where it is back here very prevalently, but down through here you can't. I think when they come in the fall, they just kind of go up through the field. I mean, they know they have access and Whitbecks never give them a hard time. They go back in there and do their hunting and
I think there's
whatever.
some kind of gate or something at the end. Maybe
Back
it's
in here,
in the front.
No, right on Krieger Lane, they've got a chain across those two posts.
right here where the field drive is?
Mhm.
Okay.
Can they block access to that back field? That back? Can they
Gross
block access to the back?
to here?
Yeah,
No, I don't think so.
Andy?
Well, all I would say on that point is that's an existing condition. They've got, when you add up the acreages, 40 some odd acres
Uh-huh.
total. And what they're proposing is to have what amounts to 3 new building lots plus the remainder, whatever's there. So they're not creating these issues about access. Really, I think what's in front of the board is, this is an existing condition, and there are 3 proposed building lots, each with frontage on an improved public road. Is that correct?
Yes,
With the remaining land, whatever it is.
right. It's not like we're trying to make this into a lot of, that would open up a whole can of worms.
That would be very problematic. And it would
Yes.
be problematic going forward for the Whitbecks, but
Yes,
because their remainder land may have some issues. And it is just that, it's the remainder parcel for this. They're really, through this subdivision, proposing to create 3 new building lots.
What is the status of the non-realty subdivision?
So these are never easy things, and you're right. It's referred to as the 553 rule, okay? And it's a realty subdivision is one where 5 or more residential lots, each comprising 5 acres or less, are created within any 3-year period. This is not that. So in my
Correct.
opinion, this is a non-realty subdivision, which would mean there's no immediate county health department approval for this, but there would be a condition indicating no building permit can be issued for any of the building lots until county health department for water and septic are obtained.
correct.
Thanks.
You got 5 lots in 7 years though, right?
What's that now?
You're gonna have 5 lots in 7 years. Because one of those lots, I mean, it's only a matter of 2 months or something, is in the 7-year window.
This lot right here, I did in May or June of 2015. So you are correct. We are a couple of months away from being 7 years since I did that parcel on the corner.
But that's not an implication for realty versus non-realty.
But it's a major versus a minor.
Let's confirm.
And if that's the case, I'll see you in 2 months.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It'll be money well saved.
Brian, when did you do Lido? Was that Lotto? Did you say that? What year was that?
Lido, that was an existing tax map parcel. So, and I don't know when that was created exactly, but Whitbeck sold that to Lido's, but it had its own tax map parcel back when I started, so
You didn't create that.
I didn't.
Now, are they moving forward with a waiver for the total number of houses on a dead-end street? They have to,
If I can jump in just on this 7-year issue. The 7-year issue comes up to determine whether the board would entertain a waiver of subdivision application. There's no particular 7-year rule applicable to the difference between minor and major. The issue can arise as to whether under seeker, if it's viewed as an overall common plan, you've come in pieces, whether it still needs to be viewed cumulatively for environmental impact issues, but it doesn't differentiate between minor or major. So as 4 lots, it does meet the definition of minor. Not creating any new road, 4 lots, all fronting on an existing road is a minor. So it is a minor subdivision.
Do they come under that segmentation or whatever it is? Because they've been cutting up lots here for as long as Brian's been there. They got.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you know, I
not to-
did,
not to bring
I think I did a couple down here, and then I did 3, and then I did that one. Like I say, that one was an existing tax map parcel ID number, so I didn't have to cut that one, so to speak. And so I've been here in like 03, 07, 15. Yeah.
You're not that old.
so the issue is, there's no bright line test for that on the need for a cumulative impact assessment. You kind of look at what's been proposed. And if the board determines that this is close enough in time and it can be viewed as part of an overall plan or scheme for the development, you can look at it cumulatively. One of the touchstones for cumulative impact assessment is if the parts are somehow interdependent or reliant on each other. That doesn't appear to be the case here. And 7 years is quite a lengthy time. You know, if it's a year or 2 or 3, then it looks like you're breaking this up and this is really what you wanted to do. These are just factors for the board to consider and whether to require it. Would you like to add anything, Wayne?
I was just thinking about stormwater, because that has kind of the same kind of rule, you know, part of a common plan. But all these lots have been developed and established for so long that I don't see that that applies in this case.
Yeah.
Now there's 14 lots there before your 3 new ones. Right?
14?
They're before your 3 new ones. And then what do we do about Vicar went to get a permission to put another lot on? Do you count that one or you never got it?
I don't
It's not
know.
approved.
Right,
I don't know if it's not for you so much as for Andy.
yeah.
You got approved by the town board, but not, you withdrew the application. So are we looking at 17 lots or 18 lots or?
That's a fair question. And as I sit here, I'm not sure I know the answer to it. It was approved for an additional lot. They did waive that standard, they being the town board. But the project didn't move forward and the application was withdrawn. I think the better approach is to look at existing conditions and not count that lot. It's not been created.
Then if Vickers comes back, he's gonna have to do it again?
Yes. He withdrew the application. Is that correct, Joe?
Right.
It's formally withdrawn. He's not moving forward with it.
I thought the letter asked to
Be
table,
put on hold.
to be put on hold.
Oh, so it's technically pending?
He sent a letter and said, I may come back.
In either case,
Yeah, I would think
in either case, we need to go before
you
the
need to go to the
town
town board. And I would think you can discuss, because what would be required is you refer it to the town board for the number of lots on a dead-end road system, and you make certain findings and a recommendation on that referral. It probably would make sense to identify the Vickers waiver that just went in and note that the applicant's not currently pursuing that subdivision, although not formally withdrawn. And that can be up to the town board's consideration on how they address the waiver.
I mean, we're not looking to keep anybody out. We just want these 3. If we got to petition the town board, whether it's 14 or 15, we still have to go to the town board. And, if they think 18's too many, but 17's okay, I can't see them, drawing that line in the sand.
We have to make a recommendation. Am I correct?
Yes. You do need to make findings, and what you generally have done in the past on findings is to identify issues about adequacy of access, particularly for emergency vehicles, condition of the road, width, total number of lots. Those are some things that you've based your determinations in the past on.
Okay. Do we want to discuss that now, or is that something that we should analyze it a little bit further?
Completely within the board's discretion. You need time to review that and consider those things, and so at your next meeting, that's,
Well, apparently we have a little bit more time now that we want to make over the 7-year.
That doesn't count.
7 years irrelevant,
Relevant.
but
But I mean,
It's
as
still
far as
within
moving
your-
Forward with the whole,
right, it's still within your discretion on, if you need time to consider those issues, then you can deal with it at this meeting or your next meeting, up to you.
User, as far as I'm aware.
So that, that loop in front of Whitbeck's house, is that public road?
I think, and Chuck can correct me on this, but I think the town truck whips right around there.
Sure does.
Yes.
I asked
Yeah.
that question before, the plow goes
Yeah.
right around the house.
Yeah.
It's right around.
But I don't know why, but forever, it's been shown on tax mapping and other mapping that 50-foot right of way kind of want to show it going around here so close to the house and barn. You know,
Krieger Lane is the highway I use.
And actually drive right around, right through the front of Whitbeck's and right back out.
And if Whitbeck sells the house, they can't stop people from doing that?
That's a legal question. I wouldn't answer that.
As long as that road is being maintained by the town, it becomes a user road and a public way.
That would just be the asphalt portion of it, right?
No.
Whatever they maintain, whatever
Whatever they do.
they've been maintaining it for 20 years, it's a public way.
okay, I guess I have a question for the board, whether they want to look into this a little bit further as far as the conditions that they would want for a recommendation for the waiver? Or do you want to discuss it now and move forward and have maybe Andy draft a letter of recommendation to be available at our next meeting?
Well, what you've done in the past is at the meeting when you discuss your findings and what your recommendation will be, based on those deliberations, I then draft the recommendation and you review it. So it's usually a 2-meeting process where you do discuss your findings, whatever they might be, what your recommendation would be on the waiver, whatever that might be, and then I'll draft something up based on that deliberation, and you review it at your next meeting and then forward it to the board.
Okay.
All right.
So I guess we're going to
Focus on the road waiver issues, deliberate, make some proposals for findings and what your recommendation will be. I'll then draft the recommendation and you'd finalize that at your second meeting in April and forward it to the town board.
Fair enough.
that work?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Is there anything in the meantime that you need to do or you need to do at this point?
No,
Think so? Wayne?
until I get direction, some additional direction from the board.
Could we try to find out what portion we maintain on that little loop in front of the Krieger, Whitbeck's house?
Well, like Chuck said, they go right around there.
Ribbon write something down, but I've already asked him and he says they go right around the house, so.
It's
Yeah,
the
but they-
same width as the road coming in.
So it's 15, it's paid 15 feet.
It's
Yeah.
paved 15 feet all the way around past the house.
Yeah.
And there's no shoulders or anything beyond that?
No, there's not.
No,
There's not, Kevin. No,
because
just grass.
where it goes past the house,
I know it's pretty close to the porch, right?
yes, it's right close to the porch.
Do we want anything from the fire department? I don't know if they ever see if there's ever been an issue there or with the highway department.
That'd be good information for the board to have at the meeting to make your findings on the waiver.
Yeah,
Should you delineate, I mean, you got a 50-foot right of way on the map as a user road. Do you carry it around and put the right of way on the map?
Unless there's a clear understanding of how long the town has maintained the road and where, that's what dictates the width and extent of the user road. It's what the town actually maintains, plus necessary drainage on the shoulders, and for the requisite period of time. And I'm not sure we have that information tonight to say, put that on the map.
Right. I'm not saying put it on tonight or the next 2 weeks, but is that 3 weeks? Is that something that ought to go on the map going forward in that house?
It really needs, in order to do that, it needs to be deeded to the town in order to show that.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable
Yeah.
putting that on my map unless we feel as though we use 30 feet, 40 feet, 50 feet. Then I'd be like, okay, now I'll show that. But I'm not just going to show 50 feet. Because the only ones, the town comes down here and whips around, but other than them, no one's coming down here with the wetbacks.
And the school bus turns around.
How did you know,
And the school
how
bus
did you
and
know how to label that one little section, Brian?
the garbage truck.
How
What's
did you
that
know how to
gonna-
label these two little sections at 50 feet? How did you know that?
Because that's just what's been shown for years. And maybe not rightfully so, if it's a user road. But
How's it depict? Not that that's
just as
controlled.
I have.
Okay.
No,
But
they're
there's
not.
some evidence.
But there's, exactly.
All right, anybody else have any other questions?
And we're talking about Krieger, right? That's the.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then we can schedule you for our next meeting, which I believe is on April 7th, which is 3 weeks.
That's fine. There's really nothing for me to do except come back and
Yeah.
see how we make out.
And we'll proceed ahead with getting everything together for a letter of recommendation.
Okay.
On the waiver. All right,
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
okay. So number 2 on our agenda is the CVE North America. And I believe, Wayne, that there was a letter of review that you sent, comments returned.
Yeah, and Bill Bradley had some comments on stormwater as well. Did you not
I heard
get
that.
those?
Okay.
Bill Bradley, the stormwater coordinator and director of utilities.
I haven't gotten them yet. I haven't seen those yet. But he's in Portugal.
Okay.
Were these actually directed to you, or were they directed to the applicant?
I believe
I can
it was-
tell you that.
He copied everybody who was in the correspondence.
Yeah, he did.
His concerns were during construction and the compaction of the road and the road in between the.
Oh, I did see that. Was that
Yeah.
in an email?
Yeah,
Came-
this was sent
came in
out
an
on
email.
March,
I just wanted to point that out, that they were just additional comments that came from Bill.
William Bradley, Superintendent of Water?
Yep.
Okay. Access, so, yes, that was received, sorry. So, about the road, deep ripping, soils analysis, certification after the fact, and certain evenings for the.
Right.
Yes.
did you have any, like, informal response to those remarks?
I did, they responded and
Okay.
said, a lot of the details I was looking for, they were gonna update the plans and provide them at this meeting.
Okay. And did you get them?
I have not, no, I haven't received any
Okay, where are
updates.
we with those?
So I apologize if that was misunderstood. So the intent was to describe how we were going to approach it.
Right.
If you bought into it, then, we would proceed with making the edits to the plans after this meeting.
I didn't have any objection to your responses, let's
Okay.
put it that way.
All right, perfect. Then we have no issues in making those.
So there are some changes they need to make to the plans and add some additional detail for review.
Okay.
I don't
Well, one
know,
of
did you
the-
want to go through all of them?
Well, one of the things we were
Unfortunately.
trying to establish was whether the record was complete enough in order to proceed with a public hearing.
None of my comments changed the layout, changed the road location. The retaining wall's not gonna move, we just needed to provide, somebody did send me something, though, right? That's was a retaining wall detail.
Our response, no, we just described. It's just basically the drainage layer put behind the wall, stone pack, under drain, discharging,
Yeah, they submitted, what was the date on this?
I think the 11th. Yes.
Okay, so they
11th.
responded on March 11th.
Yeah, I received that.
Yeah.
We all received that.
And I reviewed that. I didn't have any issues with their response.
Okay,
I would say the details that they're changing doesn't significantly change the plan or the site plan. And that the record is complete for a public hearing.
all right. Is there anything
We've
in
already
particular?
done seeker. right?
Is there anything in particular on your recommendations that should be brought to our attention in particular? That would, affect anything possible?
So I had a question about the poles. They showed 6 poles in a single row,
Well,
which usually what we're used to seeing is 3 sets of 2 poles, right?
Yeah.
2, 2, and 2. I just asked the question. And they said that it was a requirement of National Grid. So if that's not going to change, that's not a big deal.
Okay, that would be probably something that maybe somebody would bring up at a public hearing.
Yes,
Polls and so forth.
but they're shown. I mean, they're
Yeah,
there.
they're-
So
they're
the worst
showing
case
6 in a row.
scenario, where those poles are going are there.
All right,
I had some issues with where they're crossing the wetland. But that was more them providing me more details so I could understand what their was to cross there. I just needed some more detail. They're gonna show me a cross section, give me some more details on that. The location of that crossing's not gonna change.
okay,
We asked if the fire department had reviewed the plans.
yes, I noticed that. in the
I
minutes.
said Brunswick 1, and Chuck corrected me that it's Center Brunswick.
And I dropped the plans off to Center Brunswick and I haven't heard anything from them.
And I said Brunswick 1 will get there first. That's not where the lines are drawn. So that's still pending. Any input from fire department?
None from Chief.
Should you give them the Brunswick 1 too?
No, I think the primary,
Yeah, I think you keep it to the district.
correct.
Yeah.
Do they usually respond, or do they only respond if they've got a concern? So, yeah, obviously, in my experience.
Depends on the chief.
Okay.
Some of them move in with us, and some of them haven't seen them in 3 years. Maybe.
I think one of the issues probably is going to be the capacity of the road for firefighting equipment.
Yeah.
That's gonna be That's gonna be something they're gonna look at.
And that's a concern that he saw at roadway.
So-
Yeah, because you're proposing a geogrid grassed roadway, correct? So I just wanted to make sure the fire department was okay with that.
Okay,
Um, And Bill Bradley had a little bit of concern with doing the geogrid and that it gets compacted anyway. And
Do we have any more context on where he cited one site worked really well, another one there was problems?
I hate to tell you which one's which because I don't remember.
Sure.
I have to research that a little
It's
bit or
just
talk to
like if,
Bill.
Yeah.
You're certainly welcome to call
Reach
Bill.
out,
Yep.
okay.
it seems to me what Dusenberry Lane was,
Dusenberry is the one he had the problem with.
yeah.
Yeah. They had a lot of erosion, a lot of compaction. a lot of-
Curious, like if they have a similar cross-section of how we're proposing our road, if the slopes were comparable, just to compare apples to apples.
Okay.
But was it Dewberry? I think it was.
Dusenberry is off
Dusenberry, which
142.
was Borrego, correct?
Yes.
Well, initially Borrego.
Oh, that's the one they
Borrego
sold,
did not do the build.
just to make it complicated.
You can certainly reach out to them.
What is it,
have a
geogrid
conversation.
subsurface or surface geogrid? What type of?
Subsurface.
Subsurface.
And it's a combination. There's one that's just for separating the soil and the rock so they don't migrate together. And then there's one that actually keeps the stone consolidated. So as, the load on the side wash out as heavy, vehicles go over top of it.
Right. Scrabble on the geogrid.
Right. It's all bound together. Correct.
I had some minor comments on the way the contours were drawn, but didn't really materially affect how the grading was gonna be. I had some questions about silt fence and limits of silt fence and whether or not they were actually putting it in the area of disturbance. They agreed to move the area of disturbance out, so I just need updates on those quantities, the area of disturbance.
Okay.
Not significant, I would say. Letter of effect from SHPO. Has that been
That
received?
was received, yes.
Okay.
So there's no,
Do I have that?
no, we were gonna include that in the update for this one.
Okay. The visual impact assessment,
So that was done, that found no impact, so no visual.
well, has the board seen that?
Will be in our submission package, yeah. Also provided a drone video on the site.
Chuck, was that distributed?
I don't remember receiving that.
I don't remember that. I don't remember receiving it either.
I don't see it. Remember Ashley submitted this. but I don't
See everything I get, I distribute.
That's the only thing I think that could hold this up.
I just I don't see it here.
It's done a while ago.
I don't know if I put it in the letter.
I mean, it wasn't in that May 2021 package, right? It was done after that.
I believe it was after that, the meeting that we came and we had this discussion with the drone, fly that you were talking about, I believe it was done at that time.
I think it was sent in an email as a link to a video.
Is that Lyndon?
I believe it was sent via email, and there was a link in the email to the drone video.
Oh.
Yeah, to the drone video.
Oh, the drone video, I remember that.
When
That's
was-
a sweet-
when was
yeah,
that?
That's a sweet hunting stand that's up there.
Yeah.
It's on the left-hand side. I remember seeing that.
I think it was actually on YouTube, the drone video, we put it on YouTube. It's, I don't know, she's
Okay.
All I get is.
got a million views.
There was then the drone video. Was there a separate written visual impact report?
Yes.
And has that separate
I believe that was distributed around that same time. I don't have a date in front of me.
I don't, again, I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, if we have it,
Yeah, I'm not, we will circulate it. I do remember.
it should be part of the public record.
Right.
Because you know that's gonna come up. Are you checking to see if you've received that, John?
Yes, I am.
Why don't you have a say
I'm clear
so
on
much?
CBE.
Fire off a copy. Because that's gotta be part of the public record that we have before the public hearing.
We can provide that.
Yes.
It's not
Okay.
CVE.
All right. Anything else anybody
Bel Air
has?
Lane?
So in conclusion, Wayne, you would say that we have enough completeness on this project to schedule a public hearing? Professionally speaking.
Professionally speaking, the plans are sufficient enough to show the public for review.
All right.
Are we,
Andy, is there anything that you can think of that would,
No, so again, the seeker's been completed on the project. The town board was the lead agency, so seeker is done. The special use permit and site plan, bless you, applications pending in front of you. The project had previously been forwarded to Rensselaer County Planning Department in conjunction with the zone change.
I think everything.
So that's been done.
do we need to, are we gonna hold a joint?
Right.
meeting with?
And that's the proposal, which is just in front of this board. So the special use permit and site plan, based on completeness review by Wayne, is ready to schedule a public hearing. Now, there are area variances pending in front of the zoning board, one for the poles, the overhead poles proposed, as well as for lot line setback for the internal lot lines on the project. The zoning board will be meeting Monday night. They're going to go through the same exercise to determine if their variance applications are complete, to schedule their public hearing. They have also discussed the option of a joint public hearing with this board. They concur in that. I think that's appropriate. So, and how it has worked in the past is that they then schedule a special meeting for one of your board meetings, and they'll come in and get that done first. You'll have the public hearing. They'll be here, you'll be here, and then they'll simply adjourn their meeting when that's done.
Okay, now here's the situation. There's a 3-week period between now and our next meeting.
Yes.
And we're going to have the zoning board meet on Monday, so there's basically going to be about 2.5 weeks before we would meet. Do you think that's
I've looked at the calendar.
realistic?
Yes, so I've looked at the calendar, and if the zoning board concurs their application is complete and agrees to a joint public hearing, there will be adequate time to notice that 10 days before a public hearing if you wanted to schedule it for your first meeting in April. The notices would have to go out next week, but there's adequate time to get them to the paper Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah, so they'll be published next week, and that will be more than 10 days before the public hearing for your first meeting in April.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hustle my ass.
Does that work for you guys?
I got
Yes,
to
sir.
work in
Yeah.
tomorrow. So.
Then we will
But that's
schedule
okay, we have next week.
tentatively,
Yeah.
depending on
I'll get
how
my phone
far
around already.
the zoning board goes for April 7th at 7 o'clock. Will be first on our agenda. Okay? Do you have any other questions of us, or do we need anything else that anybody can think of from them? Then I guess we're all set.
I remember seeing that video. I'm up to May 25th with emails back and forth from Ashley Champion. I have not seen that particular one. There was a note in there that was a time when we did not have email, but I do remember seeing it. So if you could resend, it would be greatly appreciated. I'll send it out again.
That's the video and the analysis, the whole thing, right?
Yeah, are you referring to the visual analysis or the drone video?
Both.
Both. Okay. And how should we respond to Mr. Bradley's comments? Written response or?
I would say via email. That would be good.
Just make sure you copy me on it, just so I know how you're responding back to him.
Right.
We try to be on the same page.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I see you're on the original distribution, so we'll respond to that. Perfect.
Okay. I think we're all set for tonight.
Happy holiday, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you. Okay, number 3 on our agenda tonight is the Blue Sky Towers. Are those people here?
They, if I can, Russ, they're likely not to be here. So as Chuck went over with the board at the last meeting, there was the application submitted. I'm not sure if it was modification of the site plan or modification of the special use permit. It was one or the other. And one copy had been submitted. The building department did respond to the party that submitted the application, Aerosmith, the contractor on the tower, that additional copies would be needed for distribution to the board. And the response, as you recall, from the contractor was citing FCC regulations on incomplete notifications need to be in writing within 30 days of the receipt date, and otherwise shot clock times will apply. And in light of that, the board asked Wayne and I to review that application, that submittal. And we did so. And we reviewed the FCC regulations. Wayne went through in detail the written submittal. And we coordinated with the building department. And the building department, through letter dated March 16th, did respond in writing to the applicant, Aerosmith Development, with a formal notice of incomplete application. It identified issues regarding the prior detailed visual impact assessment that was undertaken for the project, and that this did, in the town's opinion, impact the concealment element, which is a critical issue under the FCC regulations for that tower. And we've requested that additional information be submitted both technically under the town's telecommunications requirements as well as under seeker. That went out when that written notice of incomplete application is sent out by the municipality within that 30-day time frame from the initial submittal. It does suspend the otherwise applicable shot clock timeframes. So we're at a period of time where the shot clock is suspended, and we need to hear back from the applicant on how the project will proceed. Wayne, did I miss anything?
Yeah, actually, they had submitted a special use permit and did not submit application for site plan review. So we requested that as well.
You want to distribute the letter to the members?
So they are,
Sure.
I would assume then
We
that
can
they
do
are
just the
hold
whole-
as far as our
Although
agenda
it's an
item
email, so yeah, you can email.
until.
Yeah, it was a pretty substantial response. So we're going to
You can just forward to the
digest that, I would say, for a few days.
Okay.
I'm forwarding the letter now.
Do we need to put them on an agenda?
You do not. It is, everything is suspended until the town hears back from the applicant.
Okay. All right, that concludes our formal agenda. We have a couple items under new business and a couple items under old business. Under new business, we have received 2 items, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. One is a waiver of subdivision. which absolutely escapes me right now. No idea. Here, I got it. And this would be Brooks Heritage LLC. Is there anybody here from Brooks Heritage LLC? Okay, under new business, we reviewed this and we move forward by scheduling it at our next meeting under new business or under on a formal agenda. However, we do have to review it tentatively here to make sure it's complete and there is no other questions that have to be answered. So this is a waiver of subdivision on Grange Road.
It's open.
It looks pretty well. This is on the corner of Grange Road and Shrewsbury Lane. Is this LLC with the old Brooks that had all that property up there that was going to
That's
do
correct.
development?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't have to stop there, right? It looks pretty well straightforward as far as subdividing a corner lot into two building lots, I would assume. And it is a waiver.
It wasn't part of, that was separate from.
You notice that in particular, they don't have site distances on the proposed driveway that goes out on Grange Road or 142 at this point. So I don't know whether that's something that we should have on there. Who did this?
Van
And Gilbert.
Is this a, is public water here?
Hydrant up front.
There's
a hydrant right there.
Okay, I see, okay.
water tower.
And,
Right across from
Sewer,
Assume they
require
probably
on-site
put-
septic systems.
they need to maybe put a proposed septic system on there, would you say?
I would say an approximate would be a good idea,
Okay.
just to show that it'll fit with the setback.
Okay. That's a pretty good hill up through there, isn't it? If I know where this is. There's a pretty
It does
flat-
start to go up, Dusenberry. I don't know where that
Okay,
grade starts.
all right.
They're gonna need a back pitch on the driveway, after uphill the road.
Yeah, they'll need back pitch, they'll need permits.
This is a waiver, so it's,
Well, I would note for the board, it was submitted as a waiver. It looks like it was the subject of a prior subdivision proposal that did not move forward. Same owner now proposing two building lots for commercial sale. It's within your discretion to entertain it as a waiver. It would fit the definition of a minor, creation of less than 4 building lots with frontage on an existing public road. That's within your discretion.
all right. We'll open up the floor for comments on that. Anybody have any strong opinions one way or the other?
So this one parcel that's separating the two is a separate parcel from the original larger parcel? Or is he separating the two-lot parcel?
I think we'd have to
It says-
review what the prior subdivision plan was. My recollection is it went all the way up. Where are we?
Well, it shows Brooks Heritage behind it, behind these two parcels, with these two proposed lots.
George's house was up there. They bought that.
So if it's. a
Oh, this is at
waiver-
the bottom of the road, not at the
Right,
top.
yeah.
Oh.
So was that a separate lot, from the major
I
parcel?
believe it was. They purchased this subsequently and in fact divided off a lot. I think he divided off the lot where that log cabin type home, that setback
Yeah,
was
well-
built.
Yeah,
This may be the remainder of that parcel.
yeah. And then they bought Georgie's house was up, they bought that,
Yeah.
but I don't know. He's looking for
But
it.
I don't think this was the original.
Okay.
part.
Yeah, it's down along 142 in
Yeah,
Dusenberry. But that's, again, that's within your discretion.
It was all at the same time. He owned all of it. He was gonna put both new apartments up there. When he first came in, he was gonna run sewer and water up there.
I'm no here nor there about it. I mean, I would be just as comfortable treating it as a waiver as a,
It's simply the level of detail that's submitted to you
yeah. I
and
think-
a public hearing.
I would say if they put a little bit more detail on this.
Yeah, if it's on a hill, I'd like to see some contours, if it's hilly.
And under the waiver regs, you can require what information you want on the map. That's still within your discretion, and you could still treat it as a waiver. So if you want to continue it as a waiver but require more information, you can.
If it's hilly, I'd like to see some contours. I think
I
that's
mean,
good information to have.
if we get the information we want on the drawing, is everybody comfortable just treating it as a waiver?
Yeah, I would.
All right. So why don't we finalize a list here of what we want?
So far, we have the line of sight and the septic locations. Kevin, you said you wanted topos?
Can we get a map of where the other lots around it are? Usually they give you more, I mean, this is too big. But some kind of a tax map.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see where these lots fit into
Yeah.
the adjacent
I agree.
lots, adjacent properties.
Google got all messed up on me here.
Sweet smash.
Like an area map?
Yeah, not like the site location map they have, because you can't tell where the
Yeah.
lots are, like a tax map. would be fine.
So you have a 4.86 parcel, hold on a second. 4.86 parcel to the north, again owned by Brooks. And then after that, you come up with two residential homes, Bardis and, no, Brennan still owns that one, all right, so. One vacant and then get up farther up to the Reverence Lane there, the Newark Ministry. Along that right side. I don't know what the heck happened to this.
We can get a tax map thing.
Oh, gosh, I can do that for you, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, by the way-
I can do that for,
Do we need site distance on the driveway on Grange Road?
not both driveways, both when you can't do it.
Yeah. I was concerned about the one on
Well,
Grange.
They
Dusenberry,
move
you're
pretty good
probably
on range.
you're limited by the intersection with Grange Road.
They're coming down that hill.
Anybody else have any other?
The other little
requirements
log
they want?
cabin that was built is right at the toe of the hill. Yeah, it's a tough location.
Wasn't there a typical offset to a fire hydrant?
No.
No.
And close enough to the road so they don't have to go too far.
Now, I assume that you would notify the applicant within the next couple of days, is that correct?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
If they can get this done in a couple of weeks and have it distributed before our next meeting, I will put them on the agenda for the 7th.
Sounds good.
If they can't do that, then we'll put them on the schedule for the following meeting on the 21st. All right? Okay, that takes care of one item under new business. The second item, medical office building on McChesney Avenue. Is there somebody here for that?
This is a piece of glass.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the planning board. My name is Skip Francis with Creighton Manning, the site engineer for the applicant, Paulson Development of Albany LLC. And we've just submitted sketch plan information for your review and input feedback this evening so that we can prepare a complete application coming forward. Quick high-level summary is that it's and I do have members of Paulson Development tonight if they care to speak or need to respond to some of your questions. This is a 24,000 square foot plus or minus two-story medical office building. It's in the B15 commercial district, compliant with setbacks, so there's no proposed area variances at all. It's proposing 115 parking spaces. Will require a driveway permit from the Rensselaer County because it is a county road on McChesney. I have highlighted for this presentation this evening where utilities are. There is a water line on McChesney that will be connected to for water service. There is a sewer line to the west of the property that we can tie into the stormwater management shown on the southwest that would ultimately release to the basin that is on the south side of this road here. This basin that exists now has been sized in the past to take development from this area. In fact, the same site engineer that's preparing this site plan is the one who prepared the site plan for that property there. So it is sized enough to receive that. So in short, those are the highlights, but we wanted to ask if you had any comments for sketch plan review at this time.
Is the generator so far away from the building because of noise? Normally, you're setting it closer to, you try to decrease your line runs so you limit your line loss on generator power.
I presume it's due to noise, but I will inquire about that.
In its location, you're gonna need bollards.
You're gonna need what?
Bollards, you're gonna have to protect it from,
Yep.
people backing into it.
The transformer's not too close to the property line? Transformer?
If that's a concern, we'll finalize that or look at that with the service provider to see how close it can be at a property line, and we'll move it farther away from the property line if need be.
What are setbacks and utilities?
Was there any
It would
thought
make
to
sense.
put the building on the McChesney Avenue frontage? Rather than toward the back of the lot?
I can tell you that there's a lot of rock on this area right here. So that's why we kind of pushed it back a little bit. This whole area, it's a lot of it, this is rock right here.
Mhm.
And also too, we're going, this is, it's 80% is pre-leased. There's going to be an ambulatory surgery center and an orthopedic group that will be coming in. The idea was just to come in. We have heated sidewalks. Just wanted to make the entrance easy here. So that's why we kind of pushed it over this corner. The soils are much better over here.
Thank you.
And how about connection to the asphalt driveway? Those are privately owned, right, so this parcel is being purchased from the former Pollock? What is it now?
Pollock, I think Pollock owns this.
The stormwater basin that you're tying into is not owned by Polson, correct?
Correct. There'll probably be there will be a stormwater easement to make that work. But it was originally sized for properties in this development area all the way up to McChesney with the proposed coverage percentage for this lot at one time.
Skip, do you have a copy of that original stormwater design? You could submit the
Sure we can
design?
prepare, I'm sure we can dig it up.
Just so we can see what the original intent of all that was.
Okay. I'm sure it will surface during process of developing a WIP anyway. We could tie it all back to that, so, but that's a good point to bring up at sketch plan, but we'll incorporate it.
If you could also include on the map the ownership of the parcels adjacent and their tax number ID.
Okay?
So you have, you're requesting a reduction in the number of parking spaces by 20. And you have these two medical licenses going in there.
I can answer that question. In the last two projects I've done, we overbuilt the parking, and so what I want to do here is actually land bank the parking, because one is an ambulatory surgery center, the orthopedic group, also an orthopedic. The orthopedic group will take 5 parking spots per 1,000 square feet, but the ambulatory surgery center, they'll see, I think, maybe 4 patients an hour per provider. So the parking ratio is like 3.5 to 1. So I didn't want to have a sea of parking. So we will land bank to meet the requirement by the town, but I'd like to have less asphalt to keep the property looking nicer. And I can actually too, in our next submittal, I can give you examples of my other projects that I've done. And I can actually show you that we've overbuilt parking on a few of them, and I just don't want to take the green away. So that'll be up to you.
My concern is that
What's that?
taking the 20 places away, and then you have employees at 2 medical offices that could be anywhere from 10 to 20 more spaces.
But I can tell you this, as a landlord, and I'll be partnering, I will be partners with them, that's my little niche. The worst thing you can do as a landlord is not have enough parking, so I'll be very careful to make sure we have the adequate parking, but I want to have the balance by not having, to have just a sea of asphalt that just sits empty. So in our next submittal, I'll make sure that I'll show some history of the projects that I have done, and to make the recommendation to the board. I, of course, will build the parking if you tell me to do it, but through my experience, I'd rather see some green space than I would see a parking lot. So I'll provide that in the next submittal to you. By all means, I'll do the parking if you tell me to do it.
I'm not against green space.
Oh, okay, all right, so,
Could you show that you could put the additional parking?
yeah, we'll show that on the map, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll show the land bank parking. That we can do.
All right. I think that would be good. And you're not showing any vehicular access to the rear of the building.
Not right now.
We're gonna have to,
I know for fire safety, I was talking, PBL is going to be the contractor on this. I actually brought up that question. And we were just trying to push it back. Fire department will tell us whether or not this is sufficient to have access around the building or not. I think there's a road right back there,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that, you can respond to that and let us know. We were trying to push the building back to try to stay away from all the rock over here. A lot of rock in this corner.
And is it your intention to move the power pole where the driveway entrance is proposed?
Yes, there's one in the driveway. Yes, we'll move it east, the driveway east, so we can avoid the pole.
Thank you.
okay, you're ready to go. All right. Anyone else have any other questions for the applicant?
Close the county?
It will go to the county, since it's a county highway.
In the past, we've asked for some visuals of the proposed building, so That'd be helpful.
Is this going to be similar to a building that you already have constructed in the area?
Yeah, you can go, my website is Paulson Development, paulsondev.com, and you'll be able to see the buildings that I've done in the past. I haven't seen the rendering yet. I kind of let the, because the tenants will be my partners in this, I allow them to take the lead on that. So we haven't, I just signed the leases like 3 weeks ago. So I don't have a rendering, but we'll bring it to the next meeting.
Okay.
But you can kind of get a flavor of what I have done if you go to the website.
Okay. Fair enough. Wayne, do you have any engineering related questions?
No, not really. How long before we see a full set of site plans?
Your board meets twice a month, is that right?
The first and third Mondays.
We'll take these comments and others under advisement with the
Thursdays.
client, but it might be a.
Yeah.
We're ready to go on, so it won't be long.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of information missing. But
Sure. But we'll submit the full package.
I
But
mean,
that
I'm all
sketch
about
plan-
limiting the amount of paving and parking just from a stormwater perspective. You know, that helps you on your runoff reduction volume. Yeah. Less is better from that standpoint.
Do you have any
Have to
questions?
Certainly no procedural questions. One observation, though. If I'm thinking of the right location, is the road behind the building the road going into the plaza?
The
Apartments. The apartments.
So there's a fire pit there.
Okay.
Block the roadway to the apartments.
Oh, I see. Okay. What was required for the plaza, for the entrance going into the plaza? Yeah, for the buildings that were part where emergent care and all that is because technically that's the back of the building, but that's where people drive and they can see, the planning board did not want that looking like a cinder block back of a building because it's visible. That's probably going to come up here. So when you design this, what happened with the other buildings is you'll see the more kind of textured look that's on the front and the sides was carried around to the back as well. So here you're going to have the road for the apartments. People will be driving by all the time. Just from a visual point, you don't want it looking like just a gray cinder block back of a building. So you just take that into account.
You'll have windows there, right? Because they'll have
Windows.
offices, right?
Yeah, it's offices. Well, one is a surgery center, so before I say, I know the second floor will have windows, but maybe on the first floor, because it's a surgery center, we'll make sure we'll put punch openings in, okay, they'll be darkened out, so you can't see them, so I'll make that comment if you, with what you just said, too. Because we did build a surgery center at 123 Oak Road, and on the back side, they'll punch out windows, because it's a surgery center as well, so we'll take that, I'll make sure that that's included.
Okay, we've brought you on board here under new business, which is your site, your sketch plan review and so forth and so on. You made a few comments. You know that there's considerable work that has to be done, obviously. Do you want to push this to be on our next meeting, or do you want to go for the meeting after that?
There's a meeting on the 21st of April. That's
Yes,
about a month out.
yeah,
But the deadline to make that is 2 weeks in advance, or what's the deadline?
For material, a week.
1 week?
Yeah, usually.
We'll shoot for that one.
yeah.
We distribute the Friday before the meeting.
Okay.
So
That's 5 weeks.
We'll shoot for the April 21st meeting and
Okay,
submit for that.
Yeah.
If you can
that's fine, that's fine.
hold a spot on the agenda, please.
No problem. We'll pencil you into the agenda then.
Okay.
And you can touch base with it if there's a problem. We can move it.
Okay, thank you. So the deadline to submit would be 4/14. 1 week in advance of that. Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else you need from us, or is there anything we need from them? Any questions, additional questions? Then I guess we're all set.
Thank you for your time.
Plan on seeing you on the
Comments.
21st. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes our new business. Under old business, we just would like to inform the board that in regards to Brunswick Acres, the residential subdivision there off Route 2, they've asked for a 6-month extension to expire on September 29th, 2022. I know we have a record of extending them out, so forth and so on, and Andy and I were talking about this. I think that we ought to at least get them in here for a progress report on where this project is going. And my suggestion is to schedule that at one of our meetings up to maybe within the next 3 meetings or so.
How old is this now, Russ, roughly?
Oh, God, this has got to be, it's got to be going on a couple of years now.
Oh, gosh, yeah, I would say.
All of that. Do you want to make any comments on this extension that,
So, again, the rule, because the board did hold the public hearing on the application, law requires a decision to be made within 62 days of the close of the public hearing unless extended upon consent by the applicant, and that's been continually extended. Obviously, the issue has been the amount of material originally proposed to be removed, which was not consistent with the seeker review and the determination of the PDD, in which case the applicant then is working toward balancing the site and not having material removed, and that's resulted in some slope stability analysis, and that's my understanding of where we're at. There's been an engineered slope stability analysis report submitted that's with LaBerge for review. This has been going on for quite some time, and the applicant has not been in front of the board for quite some time. And Russ and I did talk. It's not unusual to have an applicant come in and give a status on the project and where it's at. Not for purposes of any action by the board, but it's been some time since the applicant's been in front of the board. And at that meeting, it'd be a good idea to have Ron LaBerge present as well.
okay, why don't we then leave it up to their choice. I would like to see him possibly in here on the meeting on the 21st maybe, or the following
I'm going to
meeting,
strongly suggest the 21st,
21st, if not. the
just so we
following.
don't have the public hearing on the set.
Right. Okay?
Yep.
So we at least get a status report of where they are with everything. I mean, I've heard some different rumors about this project, and I'm not too confident that it's going to move forward, but at least it's probably.
Reach out to Ron too.
Yeah, thanks. Or, so it'll be the 21st or May 5th will be the next meeting.
Yeah. Okay. Now, is there any other old business that anybody wishes to bring up? Okay. Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. A second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a happy St. Patrick's Day.